Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast. Derek and Eric here.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. It was my daughter's birthday yesterday. We went to
Cool.
Universal Studios. Just wanted to tell you that. I'm not sure you care at all.
Looks fun. I saw it on Instagram. Looked
She
nice.
was dressed up like a Harry Potter wizard, and I'm really feeling great about it. All right, but back in the office, there's a lot going on. Tiger Woods back in the news, this time indirectly through a lawsuit that was filed by his now ex, Erica Herman. You may have heard this name because there were a lot of articles written about Erica Herman at the time they got in a relationship together as a sort of steadying influence in his life. This is the new Tiger trying to make it in golf again, and he was
settling down, not dating around, been together 6 years.
That's right.
This breakup.
Things didn't go well. So
There's a lawsuit now for $30 million, we should say.
A $30 million lawsuit filed by Erica Herman. So things have not ended well when you sue your ex for $30 million, and she's asking for a restitution of $40,000 in cash. That's just sort of direct compensation for your loss as a victim of some sort of offense. That's what restitution is. That's what she's claiming. She said was misappropriated from the property that she lived in. So here's the story. They lived together for a period of time in Hobie Sound, Florida, which is a sort of ritzy part of
course. Like Tiger
Florida.
Woods is not going to have a house in a bad part of town.
That's right. But there are parts of Florida that are like less savory. Hobie Sound, I can tell you, being from there, is a very ritzy sort of area. Not surprising. So they lived there before they broke up last fall, and we knew about the breakup. That's sort of in the news already. But she's suing because she said that Tiger essentially cooked up a scheme to evict her from this home that they were living in together by having one of his people tell her that, it's time for a vacation, a short vacation, pack up stuff, maybe pack a little bit more than you'd usually pack. It's going to be a really luxurious vacation, maybe warm weather clothes, maybe also cold weather clothes, maybe everything.
Yeah.
It's going to be without Tiger, and they drove her to the airport, and once she arrived there, she was told, locks are changed, you're never coming back. This is jaw-dropping.
Because Tiger didn't want to get beaten with a golf club again.
Yes.
He removed himself from the
mistakes.
situation. That's right. They broke up. I guess not broke up, but kicked her out of the house.
Yes.
Had his people take her to the airport, change the locks. And so she is now saying that they had an oral agreement that she could keep living in the house for 5 more years.
That's
so
right.
she's suing for $30 million, saying that's basically what it would cost to stay there for 5 more years.
That's right. So
what kind of rent is that?
I mean, this is a gorgeous mansion, I'm sure that
$30 million for 5 years?
Yeah, it's a hefty sum. The $40,000 is what she says was misappropriated from the property. Maybe she had some belongings she brought in there. She wants that back as well. But $30 million is a tall ask, although you often see a larger amount in an initial filing of a lawsuit that'll get winnowed down, hopefully in a settlement, or this will all get aired out. It seems like. So one thing I want to point out is oral tenancy agreements are very common in the law because you have a domestic cohabitation arrangement. This can be with a girlfriend that is not a marriage, and the laws around it are murky because you often don't sign contracts, written deal documents with someone you're just living with, who's your girlfriend. It'd be awkward to say, like, here, just sign this, tenancy agreement, and we're going to cohabitate. So you'll hear these allegations of oral tenancy. In the law, there's often something called the statute of frauds, which says, we're not going to get into this domestic messiness. We need to see everything written because real estate's a big deal, and it has to be taken seriously. So it's unclear where this will go, but these types of arguments...
pretty clear. Come on. How could she win this?
Well, there's a famous palimony lawsuit where it said, you promised to support me for life, Lee Marvin. Lee Marvin had a young girlfriend.
Michelle Triolo. That was the whole thing.
So there are these oral agreements you can say, hey, you weren't behind these closed doors. This old man was promising me money. This Tiger Woods, his life was in disrepair. He made promises to me while we were in the bedroom that I could live with him forever. Whether those are enforceable is another question.
He kicked her out. And
yeah.
Honestly, it'd be almost funnier if he kind of called her bluff and was like, I'm not going to give you $30 million, but you can come back and live here for 5 years. I'm going to date whoever I want, bring him back here when I feel like it.
It's a big house.
Right.
We'll probably never see each other. I'll be in the West Wing.
You can live here, but...
That would have been a hell of a move.
But the other thing, talk about the NDA thing. So
here's the leverage she has. So Tiger Woods obviously has a let's call it a colorful personal life in historically, where his ex-wife once came after him with a golf club when she found out about affairs he had in Vegas. He had numerous women come out of the woodwork. This was a big part of TMZ lore. She says that there's an NDA that they sign, which is not unusual. Celebrities who are in relationships will often have their partners sign NDAs.
Especially Tiger Woods, especially at this point.
Especially Tiger Woods. There's a lot of handlers, has a lot of money at stake. I know he's not as great of a golfer, but he's worth nine figures.
Well, and he's had all this very private stuff exposed very publicly before. Yes. Of all celebrities, of course, Tiger Woods, I would expect, is going to have some NDAs.
That's right. So she says there's an NDA, and she's saying that Tiger, operating through his private trust, is trying to steamroll her into honoring that NDA and not speaking about the nature of their relationship. She wants a judge to come in and say, this NDA is unenforceable. And she's coming at an important period of time because in the wake of Harvey Weinstein and all of those allegations about NDAs that he had women sign, there was a federal law that came out. They call it the Federal Speak Out Act, where if there is an NDA about allegations of sexual assault or sexual harassment, those types of NDAs aren't going to be enforceable under most circumstances because we want to encourage victims to speak out about these types of things.
Right.
Now, she's not making an allegation directly, and she makes a point of saying that this is not necessary. This is just what that law is about, and I can invoke it. But it does blow a lot of smoke about what the potential things she wants to say about this relationship are.
And maybe something did happen between them.
We don't know.
Maybe it didn't, and then she's just using this as like, oh, see, I'm just floating that idea without floating that idea, so you should probably just settle with me.
This is exactly right. This is a brilliant move by her legal team to say, like, this could get much worse. I'm going to invoke this thing. It's going to get pick up in the headlines because of who Tiger Woods is, but buckle up, because if I start spilling real tea, you're going to have to pay me a lot more money to make the bleeding stop.
If there's not actual tea there,
yes,
then his legal team, which I imagine he can afford a much better legal team than she can,
sure,
could just be like, okay, put up or shut up. What is it?
Could do that. Do you think they'll do that? I mean, that's the game of chicken that they're playing. Now, the approach that I think Tiger's team will say is, this is a shakedown, this is extortion, we will not be extorted. And they may say put up or shut up and sort of challenge her bluff. And if she doesn't have the goods, she really shouldn't lie in a filed document. However,
then he could sue her for defamation.
He could absolutely sue her. However, people do often shade things differently. They tell stories in the press. I'm sure there are less than I don't want to say less than savory, but less flattering things about the nature of their relationship and the breakup that he wouldn't want out, even if they're not of the nature of a crime or sexual assault.
I sort of feel a little bad for Tiger Woods here. Not that he hasn't done lots of other things in the past, but just
this feels like a shakedown to you? This feels like playing dirty pool a little bit?
But they were fine for 6 years. They break up. He kicks her out. And the way he kicked her out is pretty weak. You have your people drive her to the airport and tell her you change the locks. I mean, come on.
It seems cowardly and sort of strange after a relationship
of this duration.
That's not a good look on him.
But this just seems like a messy breakup.
Yes.
And you know, talk about the Harvey Weinstein thing. I mean, just this feels
and I don't
more
want to put
me,
him in that
no,
category.
But what I'm saying is of that era of things when, you know, we had all these people like Kevin Spacey and all these people being exposed. Remember sort of the tipping point of that was Aziz Ansari when the girl tried to Me Too him, basically, and they just
sounded like a bad date.
It was just a bad date.
Yes.
There was nothing illegal about it. He didn't do anything wrong. This just kind of sounds like you're a couple that broke up, and now you're trying to get $30 million just because he's Tiger Woods.
Right. I mean, they had how long was the relationship? 6 years. So I agree with you that the notion that there's like necessarily something really untoward is sort of harder thing for her to prove when you've had a relationship of a long enough duration.
Right.
You know, if you're together for 6 years, it's hard to believe that he became monstrous and sexually assaulted you one night. And
maybe,
not out of the question. Those things can happen.
And I'm willing to listen to what she has to say.
Sure.
But then she has to say it. This just sort of vaguely floating it out as sort of a...
It sounds like she shake him down for some money.
That's what it sounds like. But
all I know is this about Tiger Woods: he has a hard time with love. It's not for him. He's gonna have it hasn't really worked out, and I remember those stories.
And he's tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and
exactly.
tried and tried.
Lots of attempts. He's got a lot of reps under his belt. You know, it'll be interesting. I think you'll see this quickly settle pretty quietly. I think Erica Herman also doesn't want to engage in a protracted legal battle with Tiger Woods, who has endless resources. From her perspective, his resources are literally endless. He can have attorneys bother her defending himself forever.
Right.
and really can't.
Maybe that's why you shoot for the moon with $30 million, and if he settles, what if you get $2 million?
Yeah. Hey, listen.
That's way less than 30, but that's still a $2 million lovely parting gift.
Yes, and you both go on your ways. Sounds messy though. The one thing I will say is, he could have, if these allegations of sending a 6-year partner to an airport with packed belongings and then having one of your assistants say, locks are changed, you shan't be coming back, that kind of ruse.
You shan't. You shan't.
You shan't.
And the other thing that's kind of funny to me to picture is...
I understand being upset enough to file a lawsuit when that happens.
She would have known when she left the house if the locks had been changed or not. So I have to imagine that they had locksmiths waiting for her to leave, waiting for the car to come out of the driveway, right? Yeah. As soon as she heads to the airport, they're like, If she had just looked in the rearview mirror, she could have seen the locksmiths changing the lock.
Don't you like? It's so embarrassing for that to happen to someone who's been in
all-
any
both of
relationship, for both of them. And so he sort of, I don't want to say he had it coming. I don't think anyone should be extorted or shaken down if that's what's going on here. But when you change the locks on someone and engage in a ruse like this, rather than just confronting them and saying, look, this isn't working out anymore. This is my mansion. I built it on the back of Tiger Woods Inc. You're going to have to leave now. Maybe she was resistant, maybe trying to win him back. Maybe he thought this is the only way that she's going to get the message. I don't know. I think we will learn a little bit more, or maybe learn nothing because they'll just sort of end this.
But it is, you're essentially like seeing how immediately contentious and petty this has already become. Makes you wonder what the whole relationship was like.
Yes. I want to hear from Elin, his ex, Nordgren. I want to see
she
the
wants
soap
to move
opera.
on with her life.
People are going to ask her questions, though. She's been very private.
Course.
She's now with a new, I think, multi-billionaire, like private equity guy or something. But I do want to hear from Elin. There's a lot of drama surrounding Tiger. All right.
You love drama. You do love drama.
And if you love drama, that is a perfect segue for let's get into whether this is real drama. Because I think what's going on in the Tiger Woods scenario is real. I mean, there's lawsuits filed.
We'll have to see what happens.
Here's the next story. So when you hear these two names, you just wonder the whether you're in reality or reality television type mode. So Jake Paul and Floyd Mayweather, got into a confrontation outside of the Miami Heat arena. They were both at the
Miami Heat.
I misspeaking.
Jake Paul and Floyd Mayweather outside a Miami Heat game. This is there's such a contentious relationship between them, and you never know if it's just for press and just to drum up interest in a fight, or if it's real beef. It seems like it's kind of real at this point.
It does. But they're also the two best at it.
They're so good at it. Both of them are such good trolls. Jake comes out, and there's video of like Floyd and this like crew. Jake said 50 people.
Yeah, Floyd rolls deep. That's something known about Floyd.
I'm not counting in the video, but it's a lot of people. They come up on him and look like they're going to jump him. Maybe the vibe of the video is.
It looks hostile.
And Jake took off running.
Yes. Well, Jake is not surrounded by any entourage that
he
I
has
can
one
see.
guy.
He has one guy, which is that's a pal. That's not going to do you much good if you're surrounded by a bunch of heavies with Floyd Mayweather.
But Jake's crew. So here's the audio. Like you won't, on the podcast you can't see him running away, but here's the audio, and you can get the vibe of what's happening in this moment.
What happened? You're not tough anymore since your loss? What happened since your loss? Yo, we gonna bust him up, guys?
I told you before, put that
Yo, let's bust him up. Where you running, Jake? Where you going since your fight? Since you lost? What's up, Jake? Where you going, Jake? Oh, he's running! He's running! Look at him!
Now, everyone will try to paint this as like a guy running. It always looks cowardly to see a man
It's a
run
bad
from
look
a
when
fight.
you see him racing down the sidewalk, but I don't blame him.
I don't blame him at all. I'd run as well.
Here's the whole post interaction there, commentary on social media from them. Jake said, he's like, I'm not dumb. Like, I'm a tough guy,
right?
But there's 50 of you, and I'm not dumb.
Yeah. And I fight in a ring for money.
Right.
Like,
he's like,
not on the street. I'm not
this.
going to get my ass busted.
And he says, so he kind of chalks it up to, oh, Floyd, you are still bitter about me snatching your hat. 2 years ago, remember that? They had their press event. Jake yanked Floyd's hat off his head and ran away.
Big sign of disrespect, though. It's like slapping someone with a glove in, France.
And it does seem petty if that's what this is still about 2 years later. But then Floyd's people kind of say, no, you disrespected one of Floyd's deceased family members.
Yes, and we don't know any more details about what was said, or but that is crossing a line. There's trolling, and then there is sort of saying something that trips a wire. And if he said something about a dead family member of Floyd Mayweather, I don't want to say he had what it's coming. I don't condone violence, but it's very understandable at that point. You say
Jake
something.
Paul is somebody who does cross a line all the time.
Yes,
it's sort of his thing. That's why he's such a
line
master troll.
crosser. Yeah.
Jake still wants to settle this in the ring.
That's the point.
That'd be a big payday for both of them.
Correct.
Course.
Floyd's most recent boxing event didn't go that well. So there were press reports that he wasn't able to sell tickets and fill the stadium. He's old now, man. It's no longer sort of like fun. He does all these exhibitions. He retired with an undefeated record. He fights in such a defensive style that watching him is not always very exciting. You're trying to see mastery, but he's not getting hit that much, and he's just an old man in the ring playing with MMA fighters.
He's gonna come after you now.
Yeah,
I didn't say those things. You did.
Yes, he's the best there ever was, but. He does need like a big moment, a big event, and these guys are the two best at self-promotion.
Oh, there'd be so much press around it.
He's coming off a loss.
Hype. Right.
Jake needs to get back in the limelight. fighting Floyd Mayweather would do it. So you wonder whether some of that is going on, and they're just so good at casting, like, let's meet each other outside the Heat game. I'll have my crew come roll up on you. I think there's some reality, and there's also a lot of, like, how can we use this to make a ton of money?
So Jake says, like, Floyd and his entourage ambushed him there, like, laid in, like laying in wait for him. Floyd's people are like, no, we were just there and just happened to see you, and we're like, what do you got to say?
Yeah.
And I don't know which side of that is true, but if this confrontation was orchestrated, I don't think it was, because Jake Paul would not the shot of him racing down the sidewalk to get
doesn't
away,
make him look good.
It's a bad look for him, and he's not going to want that image to be out there.
Yes, but he also loves money. And would he be willing to compromise his dignity, because it's a bad look? He doesn't look tough. He's trying to present himself as a tough guy.
Sure, I think he'd compromise his dignity for money. But that hurts his brand. It hurts his brand. His whole thing is being a trash-talking tough guy.
Yeah.
And him running down the sidewalk without saying a word.
Yeah.
Anybody else that fights him, not even Floyd, anybody else is going to bring that up from now on.
I think that's right.
So why give that fodder?
I think these guys fight. I really do. There's also this bad blood that goes back with, Floyd did fight Logan Paul, his brother, and the Paul brothers. There were allegations that Floyd didn't pay Logan Paul after the fact. I wonder if that factored in. I think there's genuine bad blood, because
for sure. They
there's
don't like
financial
each other.
bad blood. There's these, allegations of crossing the line and saying something about someone's dead relative. I think there's enough there that people want to see them fight, and they want to see them fight in a ring. I think it'd do big money on pay-per-view. I think they'd both cash out, and we'd be the suckers being like, oh, they finally hashed out the bad blood, and they'd make a ton of money.
But if you're Jake, if Floyd really is that angry with you, I'd be afraid to get in a ring with him.
Here's what I'll say about Jake. He's already lost to Tommy Fury, who is a marginal, although professional boxer, and it was a decision. He got beat up by a guy who is nowhere in the same league as a guy like Floyd Mayweather, even at 45 years old.
The fights he wins are usually with people who are not boxers.
That's right. So I don't think he can really win a fight against Floyd, even an aging Floyd, but I'd sure watch it.
But for like $10 million, you take a punch.
That's right. That's right. So that'll do it for us. We'll see you guys next time.